There were various nasty firearms used in the Wild West, but if I had to pick only one, it would be the Smith Wesson Model 3. One of the most renowned firearms of the Wild West era is the Model 3 revolver. It was first introduced in 1870 and rapidly became a favorite of lawmen, soldiers, and outlaws. This single-action top-break revolver was chambered in powerful cartridges like .44-40 and .45 Long Colt, making it a formidable gunfighting weapon. In this video, we're going to take a deeper dive into the Smith Wesson Model 3. The historical significance of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver cannot be emphasized. This rifle was crucial in the evolution of weapons during the Wild West era, and its influence may still be seen in modern handgun designs. The power of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was one of the key reasons it was so popular among lawmen and outlaws. The pistol could fire powerful cartridges like .44-40 and .45 Long Colt, making it a formidable weapon in a gunfight. Because of its accuracy and dependability, the revolver became a crucial instrument for law enforcement personnel who needed to uphold the law and defend their communities. The Model 3 revolver, however, was not exclusively popular among cops. Criminals recognized the gun's potential and utilized it to commit horrific crimes like bank robberies. The power and accuracy of the revolver made it a favorite among outlaws who knew they could rely on it during a firefight. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was also notable for its design. This revolver was one of the first to feature an ejection system that allowed empty cartridges to be removed from the cylinder quickly. This characteristic of the design made reloading the pistol faster and easier, providing the operator an advantage in combat. The revolver's top-break design also made it simple to load and unload, which was vital during a time when gunfights were prevalent. The design of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was so important that it helped to popularize the top-break revolver. Top-break designs were also used in later weapons, like as the Colt single-action army revolver. The design elements of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver contributed to revolutionize the guns industry and establish the benchmark for future handgun designs. During the Wild West era, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was an important pistol. Its strength, precision, and dependability made it a favorite choice among both lawmen and outlaws. The revolver's design, notably the ejection system and top-break design, contributed to the revolver's popularity as a handgun design. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver has left an indelible mark on guns history, and it will be recognized as one of the most iconic firearms of the Wild West era. Design. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver's design was a game-changer in the firearms industry. The revolver was designed to be a reliable and efficient weapon, and the top-break design helped to achieve this goal. The top-break design allowed for quick and easy loading and unloading of the gun, which was an important feature during a time when gunfights were common. The gun had a unique hinge system that was located on the top of the gun. The hinge was designed to be strong enough to withstand the force of firing the gun, but flexible enough to allow for easy opening and closing of the cylinder. The cylinder of the gun was designed to swing out to the side of the gun, which made it easy to load and unload the cartridges. The design was an improvement over the earlier Colt revolvers. Earlier revolvers required the user to load and unload each cartridge individually, which was a time-consuming process. The top-break design of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver allowed the user to load and unload all the cartridges at once, which saved time and made the gun more efficient. There is a significant design feature of the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was its single-action trigger. The single-action trigger required the user to manually cock the hammer before each shot. This design was common among revolvers of the time and allowed for greater accuracy but required more time to fire each shot. The single-action trigger was an improvement over earlier revolver designs, which had a double-action trigger that allowed the user to fire the gun without manually cocking the hammer. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was designed to be a reliable and efficient weapon. The top-break design and single-action trigger were significant improvements over earlier revolver designs and helped to establish the top-break revolver as a popular firearm design. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver's design features helped to revolutionize the firearms industry and set the standard for future firearm designs. History. After the success of the Model 1 and 2 revolvers, Smith & Wesson began work on a new design that would become the Model 3. The company's founders, Horace Smith and Daniel B. Wesson, wanted to create a revolver that was more reliable and easier to use than previous models. The Model 3 featured a number of innovative design elements, including a top-break mechanism that allowed for easy loading and unloading of the gun. The revolver also had a single-action trigger, which required the user to manually cock the hammer before each shot. This design was common among revolvers of the time and allowed for greater accuracy, but required more time to fire each shot. The Model 3 was introduced in 1870 and quickly became popular among lawmen and soldiers. It was used by the U.S. Army during the Indian Wars and was also used by law enforcement agencies across the country. The revolver's power and accuracy made it a favorite among lawmen who used it to maintain law and order in the Wild West. One of the most infamous outlaws who used the Model 3 was Jesse James. James was born in Missouri in 1847 and became a notorious criminal during the 1860s and 1870s. Along with his brother Frank, James was the leader of the James Younger Gang, which was responsible for numerous bank and train robberies across the Midwest. Jesse James was known for his skill with a gun, and he was a big fan of the Smith Wesson Model 3 revolver. The gun's accuracy and stopping power made it an ideal weapon for James and his gang, who used it during many of their robberies. The Model 3's large caliber also made it an intimidating weapon which could strike fear into the hearts of their victims. Butch Cassidy and his Wild Bunch gang were also known to use the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver during their criminal activities. Cassidy was born in Utah in 1866 and became a notorious outlaw during the late 1800s and early 1900s. Along with his gang, Cassidy was responsible for numerous bank and train robberies across the American West. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver was an ideal weapon for Cassidy and his gang, who were known for their daring robberies and quick getaways. The gun's large caliber and accuracy made it an effective weapon for both long-range and close-quarters combat, making it a versatile tool for the Wild Bunch. The Dalton Gang, which was active during the 1890s, was also known to use the Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver during their criminal activities. The gang was made up of a group of brothers who were notorious for their daring bank and train robberies across the American West. The Model 3 revolver was an effective weapon for the Dalton Gang, who were known for their quick getaways and shootouts with law enforcement. The gun's accuracy and large caliber made it an ideal weapon for close-quarters combat, which was often necessary during their criminal activities. Despite its popularity among outlaws, the Model 3 remained a favorite among lawmen and soldiers throughout its long history. The gun's exceptional performance combined with its unique design made it a highly sought-after firearm. The gunfight at the OK Corral is a legendary event that has become synonymous with the Wild West. The gunfight took place on October 26, 1881 in Tombstone, Arizona, and involved two groups of men who had been feuding for some time. The first group was made up of lawmen Wyatt Earp, his brothers Virgil and Morgan, and their friend Doc Holliday. The Earps were known to be tough and experienced lawmen who had previously worked in law enforcement in various towns throughout the West. The second group was known as the Cowboys, a loose association of outlaws and castle rustlers who were known to be violent and unpredictable. The Cowboys had been causing trouble in Tombstone for some time, and tensions between them and the Earps had been building for weeks. On the morning of October 26th, the tension between the two groups boiled over into violence. The Earps and the Holiday, armed with their Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolvers, confronted the Cowboys in a narrow alley behind the OK Corral. The gunfight was over in less than a minute, but it was chaotic and deadly exchange of gunfire. In the end, 3 members of the Cowboys were killed, and the Earps and Holiday emerged unscathed. The gunfight immediately became a sensation, and with newspapers across the country reporting on the event. The gunfight has since become a symbol of the lawless and violent nature of the Wild West, and has been immortalized in countless books, movies, and TV shows. The Smith & Wesson Model 3 revolver played a crucial role in the gunfight, as it was the gun of the choice for the Earps and Holiday. What do you think about the S&W Model 3? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe for more.